I talked before about the beginning of the beef of Hee-jin and HYBE, and as well, talked about what would happen to Newjeans. But since then a lot has happened. On April 24th, Channel News in Korea reported some of the findings from HYBE's audit on Adure. A staff member from HYBE has claimed that the company found an additional document that allegedly proves Adure CEO Hee-jin's plans to attempt a coup. The new document found was titled Project 1945 and contains subpoints concerning lawsuits, civil suits, media play plans, and more. HYBE has unilaterally interpreted the title Project 1945 as an indication of Hee-jin's plans to bring Adure to independence outside of HYBE. 1945 is a significant year in South Korea, the year of liberation and independence. The document was ultimately not revealed to the public or media in any form, with only HYBE staff members' verbal statements made to Channel News. Which kind of suspicious? It was also reported that the document was written in March and contained Hee-jin's recently publicized claims that it plagiarized Newjeans. They have also seized laptops from the audit. HYBE plans on discussing Hee-jin's completed audit questionnaire internally, after which they plan on making a formal request at court in order to call for an emergency stockholder meeting to call for Hee-jin's termination. Yet, what struck a chord with netizens was noticing that the document was called Project 1945 and reported in that way on news outlets. When netizens found out that the file was allegedly called Project 1945, they were shocked. 1945 is an important date for Koreans as it was when South Korea was liberated from Japan, and netizens were in shock that Adure was seemingly comparing the company's independence from HYBE to that of Korea and Japan. Then a staff from Adure made a counter-statement to Channel Korea, denying HYBE's interpretation. Those were simply something like personal doodles with no possibility of being realized. The document was information that had already been leaked to HYBE before the audit results even came out. Then HYBE's internal audit results have revealed Hee-jin did indeed try to take over the management rights of Adure. In a press release shared with multiple media outlets, including Asin, HYBE announced the interim audit results early on the morning of April 25th. They shared that they were able to confirm Hee-jin had a plan to take over management rights for Adure, and they secured physical evidence of Hee-jin doing so. They also stated that an individual who was also investigated in the audit admitted there were plans to take over management rights and that there was contact with outside investors regarding receiving funding. HYBE went into more detail, saying that through both their in-person investigation and through documents analyzed, Hee-jin instructed those in management under her to brainstorm ways to pressure HYBE into selling their stake in Adure. Details were also discussed on how to terminate Newjeans' contract with Adure early and how to nullify the contract between Adure and HYBE. Let's pull in global funding and make a deal with HYBE, critically appeal to everything HYBE does, and think about ways to torment HYBE, the CEO of Adure has stated in these words. Eventually, we are going to leave HYBE. Amid everything what was going on with Hee-jin and HYBE, talk also turned to Source Music, home to LE SSERAFIM and the company of Friend, before they chose not to renew their contracts. Back in 2021, it was revealed that Hee-jin was joining forces with si-hyuk to create a new girl group under a new label, but it was due to be a collaboration with Source Music. On the Korean forum Instize, an individual traced the timeline of this process. 1. Before the acquisition, there were existing trainees, Minji. 2. After the acquisition of Source into HYBE, trainees were selected through a joint audition between Bigot and Source, Hanni, Danielle, Haerin. 3. Hee-jin's first girl group planned to debut under Source, and auditions were held. 4. All the costs for auditions, trainees, and initial expenses were billed to Source during this process. 5. Due to internal circumstances, Adure was established, and contrary to initial plans, Newjeans members were transferred together. 6. At this time, some existing Source Music staff also moved to Adure. 7. The establishment cost, operating funds, of Adure was also divided by Source. At the same time, the group meant to debut under Source Music was disbanded, which added to the deficits of the company, and it was after that when Friend chose not to renew their contracts. With the company in a deficit, the LE SSERAFIM project was started with staff from Bigot Music. After the contract with Girlfriend ended and the planned debut group disappeared, the project restarted as LE SSERAFIM. The concept and branding were drawn from si-hyuk's original plans, and due to the lack of personnel, Bigot staff were used as substitutes. Currently, there are almost no existing staff from Source, which is also one of the reasons. With time running short and funds running low, they had to pick the best trainees they could to debut quickly, which is why the members' trainee periods were so short, although many of the members had previous training. When the piece was shared online, it quickly received a heated response from international fans. Many believe that, considering everything explained in the text from the timeline, Hee-jin was the reason behind Friend disbanding, and several fans even expressed their anger. So Friend disbanded because of a doer, and they were all jumping LE SSERAFIM for no reason. Right before a doer CEO Hee-jin's press conference, HYBE released a claim that Hee-jin looked to shamans for advice on how to manage a doer. It was alleged that she had shared a conversation with a shaman in 2021 who advised her to take hold of the company within 3 years. 2021 was the year Hee-jin established a doer as a joint venture with HYBE and received stock options for a doer from HYBE. HYBE said, the timeline she sought out from the shaman is the same as the timeline of her attempted usurpation of management rights. She also discussed the purchase of the HYBE stocks that she holds with the shaman. It was also claimed that Min had hired personnel for a doer based on a recommendation by the shaman. Specifically, the shaman had introduced another client, someone named Park, to Hee-jin, who then hired him personally. Although Park sent in an application through the official career portal, HYBE suspects Min of foul play in his hiring. Park's job in the company was also discussed with the shaman. Min also allegedly discussed her other hires with the shaman. For those that the shaman gave positive feedback on, most of them ended up passing into the company, and a portion of these people are still working for a doer. It was said that she also leaked some employee information of the people from other departments to the shaman. HYBE further reported that the shaman convinced Hee-jin to heed her advice by claiming that the spirit of her close relative had entered her. The shaman referred to Min as Uni, to evoke this sense of kinship. They had both also criticized various higher-ups at HYBE together. Min had allegedly complained about being copied, causing the shaman to advise her to learn from them, as even copying gives you earnings. Allegedly, this is the origin of Min's claim that si-hyuk had risen to his current position by copying her. Hee-jin had also allegedly asked the shaman for advice on what to name the company. She was deliberating between a doer and ALLJOY. The shaman advised her that a doer would be better. In addition, Hee-jin had talked disparagingly about the trainees she had been nurturing. She asked the shaman fools. They'll listen to me, right? There won't be any kids who act up, right? The shaman then replied that there would be none. It was said that she got to know the shaman before 2017 and received coaching through social media texts. Later on, it was found that the shaman established companies called M Partners and M Consulting. Min had once used company finances to pay M Consulting, citing fees for cleaning her personal studio. It was also reported that she had discussed BTS's military service and more with the shaman. When she asked for advice on whether or not to support them entering the military, the shaman advised that it would be in Min and a doer's benefit for them to not receive exemption. According to the snippet released in HYBE's report, Min claimed that she would stand to benefit if BTS left. As BTS is a largely successful and popular group, their absence would only give her opportunity to create a group to fill in the gap. Hee-jin, will BTS go to the army or not? Shaman, they will. Hee-jin, well, it's better for me if BTS goes to the army. Send them off, lol. What do you think? Shaman, I'm going to send them to the army. It's not like they got gold medals or something. Hee-jin, I think I'll stand to gain if they're not here. It's weird how they know what they talked about. Did Hee-jin recorded their conversations? I personally don't believe in this. Then, on April 25th, Hee-jin held a press conference regarding the feud with HYBE. I've been swept up in various issues, and it just happened to overlap with the upcoming release of Newjeans' new album. Initially, I wanted to make a statement after Newjeans' album was sorted out to some extent. And for me, all this was so sudden. And I didn't expect things like an audit. All this started suddenly on Monday and came this far. I feel like I've received more PR from HYBE than they've done for other artists. It made me think, they were capable of doing this much PR. She also touched on the issue of Friends' disbandment. There was a problem with the process of picking trainees to begin with. I don't know why everyone has been blaming me for their disbandment. I have nothing to do with it. I'm someone who is only concerned about my own job. Anyway, out of the trainees that Source Music already had, there wasn't much I could choose from. There was only Minji. I'm sorry to say this, but I couldn't make a selection because they were either too old or they needed to polish their skills more, or they didn't really suit me. Anyway, so I thought that Minji had potential because she was young then and would get much better with practice. And Minji was really pretty when she was young, way prettier than now. So I thought I would be able to do something, create a group, with her. Anyway, so I had to do casting again. I'm sorry to the group, but the label's branding was so bad, so people wouldn't apply to audition because of friend. And this was before HYBE was created as a multi-label. The first thing we used to brand the project was Hee-jin's girl group. People would be curious because I came from SM Entertainment and I was collaborating with them. Hee-jin spoke directly about her relationship with HYBE, specifically the claims that she tried to usurp the management. My angle and HYBE's angle are different. Their claim that I tried to usurp management rights is matador, black propaganda. I have never tried to usurp the rights of a doer. I am a salary-paid CEO. How can I usurp management rights when HYBE owns 80% of a doer shares? I have no intention to usurp rights and never attempted to usurp them. I wonder what HYBE's intention was in selling me like this. It's not that I betrayed HYBE, but HYBE, who used me, that betrayed me. So it's HYBE who committed a breach of trust. Hee-jin's legal representative then went on to say that after everything that has happened, there was no such thing as a preliminary offense in a breach of trust. She added that with HYBE filing a complaint for alleged breach of trust, they are looking forward to seeing what will be written in the complaint. During the press conference, Hee-jin expressed that she felt betrayed when Le Sserafim debuted because she believed Newjeans was going to be first. She even brought the reaction of the members' parents into the press conference. Newjeans members came to HYBE with only the thought of debuting as HYBE's first girl group. They felt betrayed when Le Sserafim debuted first. The members' parents were also angered by this. While the reporters spoke about Hee-jin allegedly leaking contracts to investors, her response seemed to dance around the issue and focused largely on Newjeans instead. In her response, she explained that she thought there was a hidden intention behind what was happening as she saw everything she did as a protest to protect Newjeans' achievements. How can a legitimate protest to protect Newjeans' achievements be an act of usurping a doer's management rights? There seems to be some hidden intention that I cannot understand here. Amongst the many accusations she fights back at, she also revealed a snippet of a KakaoTalk conversation she had with si-hyuk. Si-hyuk was the one who proposed a collaboration, inviting her into the company to create HYBE's first girl group. He evoked si-hyuk in the conversation dated December 2, 2021. Si-hyuk, you can crush si-hyuk, right? Heh. Hee-jin, ha ha ha. Si-hyuk, ha ha ha. I'm leaving it to you then, emoji. When shall we have a drink? Si-hyuk, forget si-hyuk and let's construct Hee-jin world. Hee-jin, I just. Si-hyuk, don't worry. Hee-jin, lol, I'm not worried. I just wonder if, redacted, have to say such things, redacted. Hee-jin then responded to reports that she accused HYBE's founder, si-hyuk, of copying her for BTS. My goal while working is to be clean and not look for other tricks or methods. I always think of how far I can succeed by doing my job well. As someone who takes on challenges because of curiosity, I find distractions uncomfortable. So, it didn't make sense to me that there were allegations about usurping management rights. Everyone who knows me knows that I have stocks and have received things. The things revealed by HYBE are only to their advantage. To me, they are all false. Why are they calculating things like this? It makes no sense. There are too many things like this. I have never said that BTS copied me. Rather, I want to ask HYBE. How can they go so far as to do this? I want to ask why are they working so hard to make me into a strange person? Hee-jin also explained that Illit wasn't the problem but blamed the adults around who made them a copy. Illit isn't the problem here. It's the adults who made them copy. They didn't talk about this properly and just made me someone who said something strange. It's a breach of trust for just overlooking it and ignoring it. They say they are a multi-label system, but they don't let me have an independent voice. If someone succeeds by imitating someone else, those who don't have the same thing are let down. Then everyone becomes Newjeans. It's bad for us and the industry. It has a negative influence on the industry. It causes damage to shareholders, so how can we ignore it? She then added to Newjeans and LE SSERAFIM situation. Park Ji-won asked me not to promote Newjeans until LE SSERAFIM makes their debut. I asked why, and he said that we needed to make the public think that LE SSERAFIM is Min Hee-jin's girl group. That we needed the public to be confused between the two. Do you think this makes sense? Why are they such thugs? I already took the girls in. I can't give up on their debut. So what should I have done? Fight back? I just thought to myself, okay, fine, even if you guys try to create disturbances for me, I just have to do well with what I can. So I received a few boycotts. To stop me from promoting Newjeans. Min Hee-jin also spoke about how the members have responded to the situation and honestly revealed they were having a hard time. The members are having a hard time. We are close enough to comfort each other, and they always text me that they love me daily. Hanni kept saying she wanted to come to where I am, and Hae-rin, who is usually quiet, even video called me. She was going to text, but she called me to hear my voice because she couldn't get the words out. This made me wonder if this is how it feels to raise a child. Hye-in cried for 20 minutes on the phone. She cried because I helped her when she had a hard time, but she could do nothing to help me. She even said she would turn on the phoning app and explain the situation. After Min Hee-jin's press conference, HYBE, in turn, has offered a brief response. Today, there were so many untrue claims made by CEO Min Hee-jin during the press conference that it's difficult to list them all one by one. CEO Min misrepresented the issues by mixing up perspectives and presented distorted facts with her characteristic skewed interpretation. We have decided not to address each claim individually as we have deemed them not worth responding to, although we could refute them with evidence. Regarding essential facts that must be clearly disclosed from a managerial perspective during media inquiries, we will sincerely provide our responses. We kindly request that CEO Min stop spreading falsehoods such as there was no proposal for dialogue or there was no response to emails, and instead promptly return the requested information assets and cooperate with the audit. Having already proven her lack of qualification as a manager, we urge her to resign promptly for the sake of Adure's normal management. Lastly, HYBE urged Min Hee-jin to stop involving Newjeans in her statements to avoid damaging their reputation. Furthermore, please stop constantly mentioning the artists and their parents as it undermines the artists' value. Min Hee-jin talked about how Source Music and the debut of LE SSERAFIM allegedly postponed Newjeans' debut. When she mentioned members, such as Sakura and Chaewon, netizens took note of how she referred to them. Also notice how Min Hee-jin doesn't use honorifics when mentioning Sakura and Chaewon? Speaks volumes when she's still addressing Bang si-hyuk formally. Min Hee-jin had a problem with Sakura's age and y'all want me to believe she's not obsessed with minors. She should have never mentioned that given the allegations she has. Many found issues with Min Hee-jin's comments regarding trainees and artists' ages. Previously, she was alleged to glorify peas. How are you worried about a 24-year-old's debuting but has no problem with a 14-year-old's debuting? Yeah, that says a lot about you. No way. Min Hee-jin said she only chose Minji from Source Music because the other trainee is too old. And she said Minji was so pretty when she was younger. On April 26, 2024, Min Hee-jin recently gave an interview as a follow-up to her press conference the day before. In the interview, she delves deeper into why she believes HYBE is hosting a media play war against her. Reporter: so you're saying this is black propaganda? Min Hee-jin: yeah, so what's so black propaganda about this is that they tried to make me into someone who's just greedy for money. That's why she wanted to usurp power. But she's also someone who's egoistic. The public already has some biases against me. If I just say something with confidence, then they will say that I'm weirdly super self-conscious. That I'm egotistical, I have too much confidence in myself, but that's honestly just how I'm used to speaking. They really just churned out all the types of accusations that antis who don't like me will eat up. Reporter: in the media? Min Hee-jin: yes. Then the next thing they do is make me into someone who has character issues. Then, someone whose personality is problematic. Then, they try to create a frame that I'm picking at bones, going with these angles. It's so cruel how they're churning these out one by one. Hee-jin continues to claim that HYBE wants to destroy her by releasing all these conflicts to the public. She claimed that they were the ones who started the war by taking her internal complaint public. Reporter, why did they release it to the public? Why do you think so? Hee-jin, they want to destroy me. It's weird to put it this way, but I feel like they want to make the public feel like they cannot trust anything I say. Reporter, why do they want to destroy you? Hee-jin, I wouldn't know. They could simply not like me as a person, or they could have various reasons. I don't know for sure, but anyway, we've both done enough for each other, and while they've done so much to me, I've just hit back this one time. It's so childish, so let's stop. Then HYBE was accused of neglecting Newjeans promotions. They cite lack of promotions for the group on the official channels. Newjeans content is not in the official HYBE label's YouTube channel and only on Newjeans' own channel. Other groups have their music on both channels. They also claim that si-hyuk has never been seen with the girls, neither has he ever promoted them. He has been consistently seen showing support for other groups in HYBE. In response to this, HYBE released a statement regarding the claims about neglecting only Newjeans promotions. She mentioned this during her internal complaint as well, and this was our detailed reply to her in email. HYBE's communication department is doing their best for Newjeans PR. In the past year, they have written and spread 273 press releases just for Newjeans. For BTS's group and individual promotions, total of 8 units, Big Hit Music's articles totaled to 659 pieces. 17 promoted 4 different units, and Pledis articles total 365 pieces. Comparatively, it's hard to claim that Newjeans PR has been neglected. The company is doing our best to spread the word about all our labels and artists without any discrimination. During the press conference, Hee-jin also made huge claims about her contract with HYBE, stating that it was a slave contract where she was bound to the company. HYBE responded to the claims. Although there is an obligation in the agreement to keep the non-competition clause confidential, CEO Min mentioned it at the press conference. This clause is required to prevent unfair competition by the seller selling shares and founding a similar business in the same industry. These clauses are common in any industry. They then went on to refer to the claims that she is bound to HYBE forever, explaining the clauses within her contract and dates. The statement that they are bound indefinitely are also untrue. CEO Min can sell her shares starting in November, and if she sells, she will not be subject to ban on competition from November 2026, when her contract expires. HYBE emphasized that the conditions of Hee-jin's contract were far from a slave contract, sharing some of the points that contradict the initial claims by the Adure CEO. The conditions, which even allow cashing out and starting a new venture in 2 years, are far from what could be considered a slave contract, as Representative Min herself expressed confidence in earning a significant amount, stating that she could make 100 billion Korean won without doing anything. These are unprecedented and generous compensation terms that ordinary individuals could hardly imagine. Furthermore, in KakaoTalk conversations between Min and her associates, there's a mention of exercising stock options to exit on January 2, 2025. Regarding the interpretation of the clauses related to the sale in the contract, there was a difference in the priority of the 2 clauses, and the response sent in December last year already stated, if the interpretation is ambiguous, resolve the ambiguous clause so that it does not become a problem. While Min claimed to have no interest in money, the central issue that triggered the discussion was the scale of compensation. Also, Hee-jin during press conference talked about accusations of her using a shaman. She is my friend. Can I not have a shaman friend? I had to get therapy because of HYBE. But if someone there listened to me, that was why I went to her. However, HYBE's statement challenges Min's depiction of the situation, asserting that the relationship with the shaman went beyond mere friendship. It is not feasible to consider an external individual who intricately involves themselves in management as merely a friend. There has been an exchange of undisclosed information about executive stock options, potential investor names, and shareholder percentages within a management takeover structure based on the shaman's suggestions. Such a relationship cannot be seen as merely friendly when it involves disclosing critical company information to an outsider and influencing decision-making, including receiving requests for job placements. The company views these actions very seriously. HYBE also has refuted Min Hee-jin's claims that HYBE had not responded to her internal report regarding company issues. "I made an internal report, which I hoped would be addressed formally by the company." After being asked about HYBE's response, the audit was their answer. "They just rated us," HYBE said. "Our company sent a detailed 6-page response at 10:01 a.m. on April 22, which CEO Min read around 12 p.m. on the same day." However, CEO Min repeatedly claimed in the position statement and at the press conference that no answer was received. Furthermore, HYBE clarified the circumstances surrounding the audit that Min referenced. The company described the audit as a necessary step taken months after detecting attempts to take over management and confirming the leakage of sensitive business documents. HYBE also criticized Min's demand for prior notification of the audit schedule, labeling it as unreasonable given the gravity of the misconduct involved. Then on May 2, 2024, South Korean media reported that Min Hee-jin had requested for the rights to be able to terminate Newjeans' contract with the company in early 2024. It was further elaborated that she did not go through the typical means of a director's meeting, but had simply put forth the request individually as the CEO. According to insiders from the industry, she sent an edited version of her shareholders' contract to HYBE in February 2024, with the above contents. This had allegedly come after HYBE and Min's tug-of-war about her putback options and stocks. Min Hee-jin had requested for an increase in the multiplier for the putback options from 13 to 30 times, and also requested the putback options to be applicable to her added 5% stake in the company. While she previously had 15% stake in a doer, HYBE had rewarded her with 5% more after Newjeans' success. Early in the year, HYBE had told her that the request to have the rights to terminate Newjeans' contract with the company was too much. If they had given her the rights, she would be able to terminate the girl's contract with a doer without needing to bypass HYBE's management. As such, it would make it easier for her to take the girls out of the company and move them to another one. According to media reports, HYBE inferred from the audit results that Min Hee-jin's overall plan was to exercise the put options in January 2025 to make an exit, turning a doer into an empty shell. When a doer becomes non-profitable, she would use her external funding to ask HYBE to sell the label to her, purchasing it at a reasonable price. Then with the money she had cashed out as a doer CEO, she would purchase the remaining shares to the label. A doer answered to this claims. On January 25, 2024, Min Hee-jin had a face-to-face meeting with HYBE CEO Park Ji-won, in which she made some requests about the exclusive rights to sign important contracts, including that of selected external service providers and artists' exclusive contracts. She had made the request in order to resolve the unfair interference she faced during Newjeans' debut process, as well as to run a more independent label. This is yet another item that shows how HYBE distorts the truth and starts media play wars by cherry-picking. Furthermore, if they plan on continuing to make public the negotiations about shareholder contracts, we suggest that they reopen discussions about the contracts with us. On May 7, police promised to speed up the investigation into HYBE's investigation into Min Hee-jin. As this case has captured the interests of Korean citizens, we'll speed up our efforts to provide an explanation to the people. There hasn't been any meaningful discoveries in the investigation thus far. We are currently going over records. Just because the amount hasn't been stated doesn't mean that the lawsuit is useless. It is up to us to reveal the amount. In the midst of escalating tensions between HYBE and Min Hee-jin, Espouse Winter has sparked considerable discussion with her recent interactions with fans on the communication platform Bubble. Winter was discussing her family's unwavering support during a conversation with fans, where she may have subtly referenced a controversial remark made by HYBE's si-hyuk. Winter recounted an instance on Instagram where she expressed feeling overwhelmed, and her brother immediately reassured her that he would handle everything for her. She also shared a robust message of support from her father, which has caught the attention of fans and the public for its apparent reference to past comments made by si-hyuk regarding his pa. In her chat, Winter said, "When I mentioned on Instagram that I was struggling, my brother told me he'd take care of everything, remember? After he said that, our dad was like, I will crush them all for you. My daughter." The choice of the word crush by Winter's father in his message is believed by many to be a direct jab at si-hyuk's earlier use of the term, showing his protective stance towards his daughter during these trying times. A doer is slated to hold a board of directors meeting this week, so there is more to happen. What are your thoughts? Thank you for watching and see you next time.